First thing we need to do, our baseline is the end of the shift rail. So for the, let's see, this is second gear. So to determine where our second gear detent gets moved to, we're going to measure from the end of the shift rail to the end of the mark. And to dial it in, it looks like that is the measurement I get. If we can get a good, yep, right there. Hook it on the end and then measure to the end of the groove. It looks like 0.331. So we'll make a note for the new shift rail, detent groove, there. This is the second gear, this is third, and our measurement that we got, 0.331. Now, because we were forcing the shifter to make that mark of the detent ball on the welded shift rail, our measurement is not perfect. So because we had that little force on the shift fork, and because we do not want our shift fork riding with force in this groove, it's going to wear the ends out if there's some force on it. We want to back off our measurement, let's say no more than 20 thousandths. So the 331 measurement, we are trying to determine the center of our new detent groove. So from here to here, we will take our measurement and add, for the second gear, we add 20 thousandths maximum. So that would be 0.351. So we're moving the center just back, just a hair, just to avoid constant pressure on the shift fork. Now we can try our third gear detent here and measure from the end of the shift rail to the end of the mark that we made. And I think right there would be the mark. So if I can get it focused in on the camera. Yeah, right there we can see that. The caliper is right at the end of that mark from the ball. And we're at 1.350. So our third, 1.350 for the center of our third gear detent. Now, to give our shift fork a little break from constant pressure again, this time we are going to subtract 20 thousandths to get back towards neutral just a hair, instead of adding like we did on the second gear. So we're going to subtract 0.20, and we come up with 1.330. 1.330. So we have determined where our new detent grooves should be located. Now we can take our welded up shift rail, take it to a machine shop, or if you're good with a 4.5 inch grinder, you can start to grind the groove for the detent by hand. If you want to get it perfect, I would advise you to take it to a machine shop. This groove should be, let's see, where did I put that spec? the depth of the groove is what I'm looking for here. So yes, it should be no more than 0.155 inches deep, which that ball, the detent ball, is a 3/8 inch solid ball. You do not want the detent groove to be half of the ball deep or more than half the ball. So half of 3/8 is 1/875. I think that's 3/16, must be. You do not want the depth of that detent groove to be half of the ball, because then the ball does not want to pop out of the detent groove. Don't ask me how I know that. So 3/16 is half of 3/8, and the detent groove is not half of 3/8 deep. It should be less than half. So we go with maximum depth of 0.155 inches. So you can give that spec to your machine shop, and as well as these measurements that you've taken off of your marked welded shift rail. I don't have a problem myself on using a 4.5 inch grinder. The problem is when you use a 4.5 inch grinder and you try to start cutting your grooves in the shift rail, you need to make sure that you're on track with your, at least for the third gear detent groove, you need to make sure you're on track with your measurement here, 1.330. So it is a very good idea to stop grinding every minute or 30 seconds and make sure the center of your groove is the same as that measurement that we've calculated. Stop every minute. Stop more often than that if you're worried. Eventually, with a grinder that is, you'll get something like this, where you're, see if I can get that, yeah, there we go. So your detent grooves will be ground in there. This is the detent ball, and I've done this several times, so I'm quite good. You can see how that ball fits right in there. And as I stated, the groove is not more than 0.155 inches deep, a little less than half of the ball, so the ball can pop out of the groove and you can shift into second, third, and other gears. This shift rail is the finished product, and like I said earlier, this flat spot in the middle is kind of irrelevant because the neutral detent is going to hold it in the middle anyway, so this could be welded up, or you could leave it flat like I did. It's not going to matter. This is the finished product. We are going to put it in our shifter cover and just confirm that everything's on the up and up and that everything works properly. Before I do that, I'm going to get the original shift rail here, and I don't know if you can see how much things were moved here, but at least 1/8 of an inch on this transmission. I was able to move things, but sometimes it's not that much, but it's more of a preventative maintenance measure, just to make sure that you are getting full engagement on your gears, and that even if your gears do start to get a little worn, they will not pop out because you have full engagement of the gears.